everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new then hello, thank you for joining us. Before I get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for the support on my previous video. For a first video to get nearly 700 views at the time of filming this, I am completely overwhelmed. I never expected it to do that well, and the amount of subscribers I've gained I'm very thankful for too. So thank you to all those that watched the video, subscribed, liked, commented, shared it on Twitter, Facebook. You're all angels, thank you so much. So today, obviously I'm going to be talking about horror a lot on this channel as it's my favourite genre. So today I thought I would talk about 7 underseen horror films. They aren't necessarily underrated and they still might have a fairly wide audience as I haven't gone too niche for my first time talking about horror. But they're 7 films that I really enjoy and I don't think enough people have seen. Hopefully there's something on this short but sweet list that impresses you that you haven't seen before. But if you've seen them all, pop a comment down below, tell me which one is your favourite, and feel free to recommend me some more kind of unseen, underappreciated horror. So let's get cracking. I've got 7 really cool films to talk about, and if you enjoyed this video, I can definitely do another one in the future. I can go more niche. There's so many things we can do. So if this video interests you, please give it a like and pop me a message if you want me to do something similar. The first film I'm going to talk about today is 2008's Eden Lake. This stars Michael Fassbender, Kelly Riley and Jack O'Connell, who is one of my favourites, and he might be terrifying in this film, but he's very good. So it follows a young couple who are hoping to go for a romantic getaway, so they travel to a lake and end up being terrorised by a group of local teens. And I know it might not sound too horrific, but they absolutely traumatise them and they end up in a battle for their lives. Not for the faint of heart, but I do recommend it if you have thick skin and you do like a horror movie. I think the reason this one hits so hard is because it's so real and this is something that could happen. It's not supernatural, it's not a creature feature, it's just 2 people being absolutely traumatised, and it is not an easy watch. But yeah, the reason I love this film is because it's so violent. The gore and the violence works really well. The performances are insane from pretty much everyone involved. Jack O'Connell is one of my standouts because he just plays that feisty, aggressive teen role so well. He's really good at that. But it's kind of the only movie that I've seen that's like this, that's hit me this hard in this way. It's not for the faint of heart, so approach with caution, but if you think you have a thick enough skin, definitely give Eden Lake a go. Next, I will be discussing May, which released in 2002, and this stars horror icon Angela Bettis. In May, Angela Bettis is playing a lonely young woman who has a pretty traumatic childhood and she clearly never got over that. She struggles to connect with her peers, and the whole movie is basically a character study, psychological thriller about her trying to connect with the people around her. It takes things slow. It's a little bit of a slow burner, but it has that creepy vibe running throughout and it lets you know that shit is going to go down, and the script cleverly hints at what is to come. Even so, the final however long is awful. It is so gory, it will take you by surprise even if you can see it coming, and it doesn't hold back. I like this one because it works as both a character study and a horror movie, and you can see how someone's past can affect into their adult lives and affect how they form relationships and things like that. It's really creepy, it's really sinister, and the ending has stuck with me forever. It's one of the scariest endings I've ever witnessed. If you like your horror to be a bit more emotional and have some more emotional personal moments, then definitely give this one a go. Let me know how you find the ending if you do watch it. So the next film I'm going to discuss is 2020's The Empty Man. So this came out just a couple of years back, and I think it did pick up a cult following after being popped on Disney+, but I still think more of you need to check it out. So The Empty Man stars James Badgedale, and he plays a retired cop who is investigating a string of missing teenagers. Not all is as it seems though, as all the locals think this is the work of a local urban legend, the Empty Man. I don't want to say too much about this film because it takes you on such a wild ride. I did not know what was going to happen from one minute to the next. You've just got to enjoy it. You've just got to sit back and just go along for it. It's tonally, I wouldn't say it's imbalanced because for me it worked, which is why I'm recommending it. But there's a few tonal shifts in there. The first 20-30 minutes of the movie are really good, really strong. And then, yeah, it makes a massive U-turn and it becomes something completely different. So pop this one on, go for it. You might have to do a little bit of Googling at the end as well, but what it does have to offer, I think it's really, really good. So it's got that cult vibe, it's got an eerie feeling all the way through it. It's very unsettling. There's a lot of cool horror imagery in there, a lot of which I find really unique and I haven't really seen done before. Same goes for the story. I've never seen anything like this. I can't think of any movie that is even in the same realm. It's really unique and it pulls a lot of punches. Some elements maybe don't work too well. It might be trying to achieve a little bit too much in places, and I was a little bit confused once it come to an end. But after a rewatch and after sitting and thinking about it, I really did enjoy it. It's atmospheric, it's got insane performances from everybody involved, and if you're on board to just sit and see how the story plays out and you're okay at coping with a few changes, then I think you'll enjoy The Empty Man. The next film we're going to talk about today is maybe the one that scared me the most on this entire list, and that is 2009's The Loved Ones. So this stars Xavier Samuel and Robin McLeavy. Robin McLeavy is playing a young teen who invites her crush to go to prom with her. Unfortunately, her crush says no. He will have wished by the end of this movie that he had said yes, as the main character's dad promises to throw her a prom of her very own, with her as prom queen and her crush as prom king. Gnarly, shocking, and completely twisted. If you watch any film on this list, please watch this one. It puts the pedal to the metal as soon as it kicks off, and it never slows down. Just when you think things can't get more gnarly and gory, they absolutely do. This is not for the faint of heart. It's really, really terrifying, and what they put this poor guy through is absolutely awful. To top all of that off, there's a twist in the final act that I won't say anything about because my jaw literally dropped. So if you check this one out, please let me know how you felt at the end, because it's a scary ride, but after that final 20 minutes, it becomes something else entirely and it becomes even more sinister. Really good film, really simple premise, fantastic acting. There's a couple of attempts at humour that I didn't quite love, but apart from that, this is definitely a good one to check out. It will scare you, I promise. If you like your horror movies with a little bit more behind them, maybe you like searching for a hidden message, or you like them to just have, something to say, then you definitely have to check out 2022's Hatching. This is a Finnish film that obviously came out last year, so if you didn't manage to catch it then, definitely catch up on it now. I highly recommend. It's never too late to get something into your 2022 ranked, and this one you will thank me. So it follows 12-year-old Tina, who is desperate to please her mother, who is not the nicest mother. She's very, let's just say she cares a lot about self-image, and she tries to present her and her family as like the perfect family, and obviously this puts a lot of pressure and strain on Tina. One night she finds an egg, and what hatches from this egg will shock you, and that is all I will say because I do not want to spoil it. So this obviously dives into pressure, the struggles of being a young person, and it's a little bit of a coming of age drama as well, and it uses horror and especially body horror to put across its message. I really liked the utilisation of practical effects here. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but they are used really effectively. There's a lot of body horror in here. Trigger warning for emetophobia if you're afraid of vomit like I am. Do bear that in mind before checking it out. But I can never say no to practical effects, and I went into this one pretty blind, and I'm really glad I did. It's probably not the best on this list, but it will definitely stick with you the most out of all of them. It has something really, really important to say. All the performances from everyone involved are insane, particularly the young girl playing Tina. She had a lot to do here and she absolutely smashed it. So the penultimate film that I'm going to talk about today is 2015's Hellhouse LLC. This is for all of you found footage fiends. I see you. I love found footage. And there was a point in my life where I was like, great, I've seen them all. And then I watched Hellhouse LLC and it became one of my favourites of all time. So this takes place 5 years after an unexplained malfunction at a haunted house that kills 15 tourgoers. So 5 years later, a documentary crew come in and just film the location basically, and they're creating a documentary about what happened. really scary stuff, I promise. I know we all have different levels of scare and different levels of fear, and you might watch things that I find scary and not find them scary. But watch this one, turn the lights down, just completely immerse yourself in it, and I promise it will scare you. It's a lot of like looking in the background, seeing what you can see. It's that type of found footage. Obviously it's set in a haunted house, which is super fun. You've got a lot of clown masks and props and things like that, things moving around. It's really good to watch with people. If you watch your horror films with a partner or friends, this is a really good one to stick on, especially on Halloween, as it is set at a haunted house. Genuinely scary, quite a unique premise, and it's got a twist at the end that might be slightly predictable, but I still enjoyed what the ending had to offer anyway. If you like your horror to be a little bit more experimental, I hear you, I've got you. You have to check out 2018's Possum. Someone recommended this on Twitter a few years back and saying it was like their favourite horror of all time or of the year or something, and after checking it out I can totally see why. So this follows Sean Harris playing a disgraced puppeteer who returns to his childhood home and is forced to confront all of the fears that have been eating him up his entire life, including a pretty abusive stepfather. So what I like about Possum is that it's ambiguous enough to kind of leave you guessing and asking questions and kind of letting you piece it together yourself, but it doesn't leave you unsatisfied at the end. It's still, by the end it's pretty obvious, I suppose, but yeah, it feeds things to you slowly and it lets you think for yourself, which is a trait I really enjoy. It's dark, it's dingy, it's dirty, it's got beautiful colour grading and a lovely grain that makes it have that like gritty feel that I really like a horror movie to have. Similarly to May that we discussed earlier, it's a little bit of a slower burn and can definitely act as a character study as well, as we're following a man as he revisits some of his childhood trauma. But it has some seriously creepy horror imagery that will definitely send a shiver up your spine. It's filtered nicely throughout, which makes things flow really well. And it has a super short runtime as well, so there's no excuse not to check this one out. Sean Harris, I love in the horror genre, and I really wish he was in more horror because he always impresses me and he always manages to creep me out. And another thing that I love about this movie is the score, which ties everything together in a neat, horrific little bow. So I would say it's experimental enough to please the experimental horror fans, but if that's not your vibe, give it a go anyway. It's quite a digestible one that I would highly recommend. That is all I'm going to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry about all the lighting changes and stuff. The sun is doing some weird shit out there right now and I've had a super busy day, so I've had to film this a bit later on. Please let me know down below in the comments which movies of these you liked and which you haven't seen, and definitely recommend me and the viewers some films that you think are underseen. Always down to watch an underseen horror. Thanks for joining me again, and I'm hoping to see you in a few days with something else horror related. Take care, guys.